Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now, have you ever thought about what happens when multiple programmers come together to collaborate on a project? How would we actually, set things up to facilitate this? Of course, we can use some shared service like Dropbox or Google Drive, but can you imagine the logistics of doing things this way if we were working on a very large project? Clearly, it would be impractical. What works best would be a specialized tool that is designed for multiple people to work together on code. And that in fact exists. It is called a revision control system, or RCS for short. But what does an RCS do? Basically, an RCS monitors the folder where your project lives. So, all your code files, whatever resources you've added, that entire folder is being monitored. Every time you've made some changes and you're happy with them, you go over to your RCS and you say commit. Your RCS creates a checkpoint, which is basically, the differences between the current version and the previous commit. That is essentially what you see when you open up an RCS. All you see is a list of commits. If you've ever committed something that, breaks something very badly and you need to roll back, just choose an earlier commit and roll back to that version. And that is why it's called a revision control system because, it keeps track of all the revisions of your program. But what does this have to do with multiple people working together on the same project? Well, if everyone uses an RCS, that means everyone generates commits, which very conveniently are the differences between two versions of the code. So, if all these commits are pushed to a centralized location, that is how you can actually have multiple people work on the same piece of code, changing it over time in a manner that is non-destructive. In fact, most RCS come with two important buttons, push and pull. To push means to actually update the repository, which is normally hosted online, with some of the commits that you've created. When you say pull, what you're saying is you want to download all the changes from the repository. And hopefully that would update your local copy with the changes made by your fellow programmers. One cool thing about RCS is that a lot of the time they're able to resolve conflicts. What that means is if two people edit the same file, but your RCS detects that, person A has edited the top, person B has edited the bottom, their changes don't necessarily conflict, then both changes can be accepted. Of course, we know in programming that things don't always work out that way, but this is a convenient way to sort of get the changes from all people. Clearly, if you're using a system like Dropbox, which is designed for generic file sharing, at any time if two people try to change the same file, Dropbox just says, there's a conflict. You guys can go and deal with it on your own. It's just going to create two different copies of the file, and we'll have to manually select which one we want. So yeah, that's basically RCS in a nutshell. If you're doing any large-scale software engineering projects, you will definitely be using an RCS. You'll probably also be interacting with an online repository, notable ones being things like GitHub, Google Code, which is being shut down, up-and-coming ones like Bitbucket, which actually I really like. So yeah, if you ever work on large-scale projects, you will come across these. Anyway, that's all there is for this episode of Friday Minis. I hope you gained some insight today, but until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, consider checking out the rest of my work on my channel. Alternatively, you may be interested in a playlist of all the other episodes of Friday Minis. If you'd like to show me some monetary support, I am on Patreon. You can find a link to my campaign in the video description. Of course, you can simply like this video or leave a comment. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. To keep in touch with my future uploads, do subscribe to this channel. And for even more updates, check out the official Twitter account for this channel at 0612TV. Thank you for your support.